I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner Cox.
Here.
Commissioner Graven. Here. Commissioner Phipps.
Here.
Mayor Hall.
Here. Consent agenda. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will occur unless a council member requests the item to be removed from the consent agenda. If an item is removed from the consent agenda, it will be considered elsewhere on the agenda for this meeting. Prior to asking for a motion to approve the consent agenda, the mayor will ask if anyone desires to remove an item from the consent agenda for public discussion. Would anybody like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March the 5th, 2024, and bills and payroll for the first half of March 2024. Can I have a second to that?
Second.
Commissioner Cox and roll call.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven.
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Presentations, petitions, and communications. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for persons who desire to address the council. The Illinois Open Meetings Act mandates that the city council may not take action on comments received on matters that have not been identified on this agenda. But the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the matter for action on the agenda for another meeting. Persons addressing the council are requested to limit their presentations to 3 minutes and to avoid repetitious comments. We would also ask you state your name and address for the record, as well as stand when speaking. Would anybody like to address the council tonight? Anybody online like to address? Anybody on there?
Nobody's online.
Nobody's on there, so they won't address the council tonight. Okay. We are going to start with budget discussions.
Yeah. So this has kind of been a first this year. We haven't had any budget workshops. The budgets were with everybody's asks and requests. We have, as of right now, a little bit of a surplus of about $250,000 in the budget with all the departments' asks. A little bit of that is we've, asked them to cut so many years in a row that I think they're not asking for a lot, but it is still good. We're at a $25 million, $25.48 million in revenues, 25.23 in expenses. The revenues are up about 1.2 million, but 800,000 of that is grants. So about 400,000 or so increase in just regular fees. I've sent you guys out drafts of the budget, opening up for discussions. Two key points I do want to put out is the ME fund, which is the mobile equipment fund. We are putting away $1.1 million this year, where we've been 400 to 500,000 the last 3 years. So again, we've had a little bit more money to be able to put away for future purchases of vehicles. We will spend most of that 1.1 million. I think we had like 900 and some thousand being spent this coming year of buying vehicles and equipment. The capital fund, we're spending about 1.3 million in improvements. We've done that the last 2 years. Before that, we were down around 750,000. So we've been increasing the capital improvements, being able to do more repairs to streets, sidewalks, water and sewer facilities, and we plan on continuing to do that. Beth and I in the past have done a 3 and 5 year projection when budgets were bad to see where we were going. We've come out of that. We went ahead and did a 3-year projection now. We're still working on it, but right now it looks good that, we're showing positive for the next 3 years. If the projections, the incomes are coming in the way they have been. So really with that, I'll open it up to questions if you have from Beth or I. Otherwise, next meeting, I'll have my full budget public presentation.
I would just say that one major item, the governor has offered to give away our money to the tune of $475,000 in a 1% tax on groceries. It doesn't affect the state of Illinois at all. The impact on the cities in the state of Illinois is roughly $325 million. There's no way to make that up. As of today, we cannot replace that tax. We don't know when that would be effective. Officially, it has to be approved. We understand it's likely to be approved. We have not reflected that item, that reduction in the budget. Clearly, if there were no other changes, we would not be in the black. We would be in the red. It was just announced a couple of weeks ago, so we're trying to deal with that. So that is one thing that.
Yeah, that is one thing that Beth and I are continuing to watch. We're looking through the budgets to try to prepare for that if that does happen. So we are looking at different items throughout the budget to see if we're a little too conservative anywhere, if we're overestimating some expenses in a couple places. So we're looking at all those.
Okay. Any other questions about budgets at this point?
And if not, anything comes up this week, let Beth or I know.
That's right. Okay, so next item is new business, and I will start with that. I move to adopt ordinance number 2024-5477, approving and causing the publication of the official zoning map of the city of Mattoon, Illinois. Can I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it, Mayor.
Commissioner Phipps, and any comments on this, anything I can say?
We have to do this every year by state statute. We have to update the official zoning map by March 31st of every year. So it's pretty much the same thing we do every year. We just, any changes we did to zoning or any annexations that have changed the map in the last year, we reflect it in this new map. So this new map will have the zoning changes that was done out there at the Emerald Acres Sports Complex. So.
Okay.
Quick question on this map in the legend shows the new compact residential zoning, but there's nothing in here that is zoned to that, correct?
Yeah.
We
not
just
at this
added
time.
the classification. Nothing has been rezoned yet for that.
Correct.
And the same with PUD, right? PUD's already been on there and there's only one.
There's only one.
There's just one
Yeah.
section there.
West Park Plaza.
Very good.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Commissioner Cox?
Yes.
Commissioner Graven? Yes. Commissioner Phipps?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Mayor Hall?
Yes. I move to adopt ordinance number 2024-5478, amending chapter 159 zoning code to establish and to regulate accessory dwelling units under section 159.04, 159.24, 159.25, 159.46, 159.55, and 35.01 of the municipal code. Can I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Commissioner Cox, and any comments on this?
Alex, do you want to?
Yes.
Alex?
I was going to say, so this was originally going to be up during the same meeting as the compact homes. However, in the public hearing, the planning commission and some members of the planning commission brought up some really great comments about the ordinance as it was presented previously. Namely, how the special use would be utilized in residential areas and the difference between that running with the land or the person. And so we reflected the changes requested by the planning commission in this. It is essentially, most special uses typically run with the owner of the building. So if the building got sold or something like that, then that special use then dissolves. That is not the case with the accessory dwelling units. So these actually run with the land, and it's contingent upon the granting of that special use that is recorded in the deed by its title company, and then runs with the land. So that way, if you end up creating an ADU for, a mother-in-law suite, something like that, and then you end up selling that property, you are not stuck in a situation where there's a title problem with the property. So it allows for a clean bill of sale and really just makes housing a lot more affordable and accessible for seniors in our community.
Very good.
But it will have to stay with the ADU requirement of being a family member, not turning it into a rental or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any question anybody has? Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Graven. Yes. Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
Motion to adopt special ordinance number 2024-1893, authorizing the employment of Heather McFarland as water treatment plant superintendent with an annual compensation of $85,000 effective April 20, 2024, due to the retirement of David Basham.
Can I have a second on that motion?
Second, Mayor.
Commissioner Phipps, and any comments?
Just very qualified. She's been out at water treatment plant for 19 years. It's a great hire. We also just recently hired the lab person out there as well. So we pretty much have stability in that department now with these two recent hirings.
We lost a couple of long-term people, but got some good ones.
Did.
Good. All right. Any other questions anybody has? Roll call.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven. Yes. Mayor Hall.
Yes.
Mayor, before I read motion 4, I just want to make sure procedurally, since the attachment to this ordinance came out after the 72-hour period, we can still proceed with this.
That's
Correct.
Yes.
All right.
That's what we understand.
Motion to adopt special ordinance number 2024-1894, authorizing the transfer of certain city-owned properties to the Central Illinois Land Bank Authority to allow for housing development.
And a second to that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Cox, and comments on this? Whoever.
Yeah, so essentially the city has about 11, 12 city-owned lots that really, we're not able to put them back to productive use, get them on the tax rolls in the way that we would like to. And so, right now, if the city was to sell this property, we'd have to put it in a sealed bid auction blind, so we don't even get to pick who gets the property. And then we have to sell it for 80% of the appraised value, which adds cost for future housing development, right? So, for an example, like if we wanted to give a piece of property directly to Habitat for Humanity, we could have. And even if we could, and it did, it might make it more expensive than us giving it to them for $1, right? And so this really opens up the way by working with the land bank to circumvent that, requirement, and allows us to use the home rule authority that's kind of enshrined in that intergovernmental agreement, to be able to sell these properties. We signed an MOU with Silva, the land bank, and they also signed an MOU, so it's an agreement. And we'll be selling these lots for approximately $1,000 a lot. And then we do have a preset agreement already that's been signed with Habitat to have them transferred to them specifically for $1 should they want at least up to 5 of those lots. But essentially, it's just a way to allow for more housing development and just a new innovative way to really just get these properties back on the tax rolls and out of city ownership.
Okay.
The biggest issue of trying to get rid of these lots in the past is, some of them are in areas that to build a new home may not, the appraisal would be downgraded as soon as it was built. So these are good lots that may be good for the smaller homes where that way, by square footage, they would be valued about the same as the neighborhood. And so we think this is a good way of getting those properties to where someone will build on them and back on tax rolls.
Add briefly, so, anybody that has an existing code enforcement violation in the city of Mattoon that wants to buy one of these can't. City of Mattoon can't stipulate that, the land bank can. So that would problem property owner from being able to acquire any of this, which is a really huge plus to make sure that we're getting these properties not only sold and, turned into housing, but also into the hands of people that are going to do that responsibly. So.
Great. Alex, what if, just hypothetically, 3 people want to bid on or make application to the land bank? Then what happens? They're all 3 eligible, and then ultimately the city makes that determination on?
So it would go through the land bank's board. They have a 7-member board. Nobody there has any ties to Mattoon, so it's a very impartial decision. And then once they reach their decision, they come to Tyler and myself, because we've been authorized by council via ordinance to represent the city on behalf of, or in interactions with SILVA. And then we would ultimately say yes or no. And so if they, approve somebody that we know is the known slumlord here or something, we're going to say no, choose the next person, and so on and so forth. But, if they tick all the boxes, responsible property owner, wants to build a house within a year, that's the stipulation of this, is that they have to begin construction within a year. And if they tick all those boxes, then the answer is most likely yes for Mattoon. And then the sale proceeds and they build a home.
Thank you.
Preference is given to owner occupied first, right?
Yeah.
Or a builder that's going to build it and turn around and sell it to some.
Correct.
Yep.
Any other questions? Roll call then.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Raven. Yeah. Commissioner Fix.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
Motion to approve council decision request 2024-2458, authorizing the employment of Cadet Colton Romine as a probationary firefighter with a base salary of $47,753.92 for the Mattoon Fire Department, effective March 24th, 2024.
Can I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it, Mayor.
Commissioner Phipps, any discussion? Any comments?
So, Colton started with the department as a cadet back in August, I believe it was. That allowed him to go to the academy up in Peoria, so he's already got that out of the way. He also had his paramedic license obtained last July. So, this Sunday, he should hit the ground running. He's actually been running anyway as a medic and helping out when we've been overwhelmed with calls. So it's worked out really well.
Mike, do you have any this sort of inside knowledge about how quality this person would be?
Actually, I was gonna put Captain Collinsworth on the spot for any comments, because we are not actually allowed to work on the same shift.
Okay.
Collinsworth is his captain, so.
Okay.
Any questions about that? But as far as home life, yeah,
He's pretty good.
The department, I can't tell you anything.
Yeah.
right now.
Okay.
Very good answer.
Yeah. So you did a good job there.
Say kid, he's 20, so 21, I guess I'll have to
Yeah,
start calling.
right. Yeah. Okay.
No speech.
Motion to, yeah.
No speech.
Excuse me?
No
Oh,
speech.
speak. Normally, would you please step up to the mic? Seriously, somebody might want to hear you. Hardly anybody ever.
didn't say that right.
I'm just excited to be here and start my career, so looking forward to it.
Excellent.
Very good.
You stayed under the 3-minute limit too. Yeah.
Well, I will say that Colton's been, as everyone here knows on council, he's one of the 2 original or first ones to go through the cadet program or the cadet project that we started this past year and get good reviews and good comments about you all the time, doing good work. So you represented that part of it very well, and we're looking forward to having you on full time and starting your career.
That's that.
Very good. Anybody else wants to say anything?
That paramedic, Dave, I think I got this right. That can take up to 42 months to get that paramedic certification, which
That's what you're
he
allowed.
already has at this point. Congratulations. It's great.
Okay, roll call.
Any other celebration tonight? Can't remember.
You better be quiet.
No. Somebody's birthday is today.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's in their family. But anyway, I digress.
So whose birthday is it? Is that your sit? This is a terrible start to your career.
We may want to vote on this. Yeah. Get this through.
Okay, so maybe we ought to vote. Roll call.
Commissioner Cox?
Yes.
Commissioner Raven? Yes. Commissioner Phipps?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Mayor Hall?
Yes.
Is he on shift tonight? Are you staying here tonight?
See if anybody should may not agree with that.
Okay.
All right, moving ahead. Motion to approve council decision request 2024-2459, authorizing the employment of Stetson Trough as a probationary firefighter with a base salary of $47,753.92 for the Mattoon Fire Department, effective March 25th, 2024.
And a second to that.
Second.
Commissioner Clausen, and any comments?
For mayor.
You have any comments on that, Mike?
Yeah, so Stetson worked for the Carbondale Fire Department for 4.5 years. They moved north here to well, I'll even let him tell that part. 4.5 years, he'll explain that here in a minute. So he obtained his basic operations firefighter certification, so he will not have to go to the academy. And he will start the paramedic program in January of 2025.
Awesome.
So would you like to say anything? Come up front.
I was saying I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, it doesn't count if you don't come up here, so. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. As you said, I worked in Carbondale for 4.5 years. I met my wife, Haley. She was in school there at the time. And she did a clinical rotation at Sarah Bush. And when she graduated, she got a job offer there. And so made the decision to move back for her job. And my parents are local to the area as well, so be around some family.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the main reason we moved back. But
So we should ask the parents, do you have anything to say? No? Yeah. Put him to work. Put him to work and pay him too, right? Okay, very good.
But yeah, thank you.
Any birthdays in your family?
All right. Very good.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Any other comments? Yes. Roll call.
Commissioner Raven? Yes. Commissioner Phipps?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Commissioner Cox?
Yes.
Mayor Hall?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Mhm.
Motion to approve council decision request 2024-2460, approving a $15,000 grant by the Tourism Advisory Committee from FY 23-24 Hotel Motel Tax Funds to the Mattoon Cobra Softball in support of the Mother's Day Tourney on May 10th through the 12th. USSSA Schools Out Blowout on May 31st through June 2nd. The USSSA State Tourney on June 14th through the 16th. And the Donnie Howe Fall Classic College Showcase on October 5th through the 6th, 2024, and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement.
Can I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Phipps? And anybody?
It's Mattoon Cobras of, as most know, long been a great organization, and these tournaments have been a staple. That organization brings a lot of teams into town, brings a lot of revenue and visitors into town, and the Tourism Advisory Board really supported this grant application.
And I'll say each one of these tournaments, they're planning on projecting more teams here this year than they had the last couple of years. So
Continued growth.
kind of went down for a couple of years, but it's continuing to grow and
Good.
a lot of teams.
All right. Roll call.
Commissioner Phipps?
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Commissioner Cox?
Yeah.
Commissioner Raven? Yes. Mayor Hall?
Yes.
A motion to approve council decision request 2024-2461, authorizing the employment of Ethan Carman as a maintenance worker 2 with a base salary of $39,603.20 for the Public Works Department, effective March 25th, 2024.
Can I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Mr. Clausen, almost. And anybody have anything to say?
He's good. He worked for Tom Busher's Concrete, who Tom Busher retired. So he's got some experience in the concrete finishing, which is a big plus for us as well. He's excited to join and I think he'll do a pretty good job.
Great. All right, any other comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Raven. Yes. Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
Approve council decision request 2024-2462, awarding the bid in the amount of $163,683.96 from Shores Builders, Inc. of Centralia, Illinois, through the Illinois Department of Transportation, bid letting for the Riddle Elementary School sidewalk project.
Second to that motion?
I'll second.
Good. Commissioner Graven, there you go. And any comments? This has been going on, this project's been
A
going
couple
on
years at least.
for a while.
Shores was a low bidder. There was 4 bidders. They were low, quite a bit of the other bidders. So I never worked around them. It'll be a new experience for us, I'm sure, but they're pre-qualified with IDOT. I'm sure they'll do a fantastic job.
Yep.
No work will start till after school. Be finished before school starts down in August.
Now, this is going to be a special deal. This is on the sidewalk. I've been getting letters from, as you know, a young lady that goes to school over there. And she's been sending me letters all the time wondering when that sidewalk is going to be finished. So we're going to do a ribbon cutting for our sidewalk and invite this young lady. So
It's on the calendar.
it's on the calendar. Okay, good. All right. Any other comments, questions? Roll call.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Raven. Yes. Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Department reports. City Administrator Kyle Gill.
Just been working on budgets, negotiations, working with on the sports complex, several different items there. Electrical aggregation, still getting lots of calls on that. PD still getting a lot of calls on the busload of immigrants, that rumor that goes around. They've called and checked with hotels. There's none of that that's been happening. But no, it's very busy, still complaint driven, a lot of complaints with the weather starting to turn, people being out more. So nuisance season will be here, and grass and everything else. So just a very busy time.
Any questions for Kyle? And next, City Attorney Dan Jones, is he on?
Yep.
Okay, Dan, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to thank everyone with their patience with me the last couple weeks. Just to let everyone know, long story short, I went in for what I thought was a routine exam, and they found a lot of blockage in the 3 major arteries leading to the heart. So I've had a bypass surgery a little less than 2 weeks ago. Things have gone very well. I've been out of the hospital for a week now. My in-home nursing visits have gone very well, and I will probably be out for at least another week. But after that, I'll start working my way back in, and I'm certainly available by email and phone, and we'll continue to keep getting stronger, and we'll be back up to speed very soon. Substantively, I don't have a lot other than we had a hearing on the Tim Quackenbush property back on January 9th, and we did finally get a decision from Judge Bovard. Apparently came out March 4th. The court just got it to me today, so I've asked Susan to help me distribute it to everybody. The court has found that despite Tim's contention that he has brought the property into compliance, that he is not in compliance. He is to continue to try and make progress. He's been threatened with fines. If anyone has any questions specifically after they read the document, please reach out. I'm happy to talk about it. And we have another telephonic hearing to talk about further plans set for April 5. And again, thank you everybody for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks.
Any
Dan.
questions for Dan?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, yeah.
Dan, I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. I hope so, but glad you're feeling better. We wish you all the best. Glad to hear things are moving forward. We did get the report on the Quackenbush property. So then the question comes up as, so I guess the teeth in the $75 a day fine. What's the second step after, if those daily fines don't get paid, what's the next step?
Well, I think the original
fines, which total over $6,000, are now in place. Does that read that? We can start to move to collect on that. He is ordered to produce a plan for, cleaning up the rest of it, starting with vegetation, I think, and some of those other things, including that gas station awning that's on the south side of Broadway. And there's no deadline about when that has to be submitted. I think we'll talk about that on April 5. But clearly, I think the judge is getting to the point where he's had enough and he's just going to start fining him. Those fines of $75 a day could go back to March of 22. So that could be significant. So I'm hoping that we'll get his attention and let's see some substantial effort.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your diligence on this over the past couple of years.
Dan, just one last comment. I know you're a big Illini fan. Did they have anything to do with your heart problem, or did they help you?
They always had a problem. I think they did it on purpose. I've gotten a lot of messages telling me not to watch these last few games.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck.
Take care, Dan.
All right. Next is City Clerk Susan O'Brien.
I've just been busy navigating through IMRF's new system, which has its own challenges. Dealing with the insurance issues, new hire processing, and preparing for 125 cafeteria and 457 open enrollment. That's all.
Any questions for Susan? Next is Finance, Beth Wright.
I have the February financial report. For the first 10 months of the fiscal year, the general fund had revenue of approximately 22.5 million, expenditures of 20.5, leaving a net of just under 2 million. The revenues were, in total, were 92.55% of budget. And the expenditures in total were 84.69% budget. And I believe 10/12 is 83.33. So the expenditures are in line, the revenue are ahead, because of the property tax being fully collected at this point in time. Cash position at the end of February, just over $26 million citywide. That's approximately where it was at the end of January. So it's for, the cash position citywide is relatively flat. On revenue tracking, we have all the information for March, but the utility tax, it has to run out through the end of the month. But compared to the year prior, we're down by 35,683.27. And at the last meeting, we were down just over 163,000. And I think the big impact there was the sales tax, which is coming in. You'll see it the month of March, it was 853,000 compared to 735 the year before. So things are starting to turn back around slightly. And the unrestricted cash in the general fund as of today, $12.37 million. The last meeting was 11.86, but the prior to that, it's 12.35. So I think the cash is holding steady. And that's all I have to report on.
Any questions for Beth? Next is Public Works, Steve Clark.
I mentioned the weather's been getting nice, and even though it's getting nice, it's still March, it could turn any day. But our crews, all of them, from the water department, wastewater, Public Works, we're working on a lot of spring cleanup stuff and getting ready for some more activities that we'll do this spring. As far as projects go, Western, we just talked about that being awarded. The US 45 water line project, that should be essentially complete by the end of this week out there, and maybe a little cleanup and stuff later on. We'll have to see when the weather is better. But then after that, they're going to jump on the Broadway streetscape project that's forward construction. And that will start Monday. We plan to do saw cutting out there Monday and Tuesday. And then that way come a little bit to see when the water line pipe comes in. It's been ordered. They've been told today that it's in the yard, but they're not 100% sure that that supplier really has it in the yard yet. So they'll definitely be out the very next week working on that as long as the water line pipe comes in.
Okay.
We also have several things out for bid this month. Our MFT for the hot mix asphalt, concrete, seal coating. We also have the roadway project for the sports complex out there. Those will be opened on the 28th at 11 o'clock. We'll have that going this month there and hopefully bring that to you the next meeting for approvals.
It's going to be a busy summer, isn't it?
It's definitely going to be a busy summer.
Okay, any questions for Dave? Next is fire. Mike?
You're right. Congratulations, Stetson, you told me, sorry. Glad to have you with these two guys. Come on, we're at our 30 mark. 14 of the 30 that we have now have 3 years or less on the department. So we're a really young department right now. So we got a lot of training to do, which we have been doing daily. So try to get these guys up to speed.
Good.
So not saying how long the 30 is going to last. You know, there might be some guys leaving. Some given point, just never know. So, as far as calls, had 138 calls for service in the last 2 weeks. Been really busy with getting a new engine in service, engine 23. It's out of station 3 now. When the truck got here, we did the mounting of equipment ourselves. Our last truck we had to do it down at Banner, but we did it ourselves and spent a lot of time on it. I know there's some nights, 10:30 at night, being over at the annex, trying to get stuff done, get it serviced pretty quick. So, on behalf of the guys down on the floor, we want to thank the council for the purchase of that truck because it was severely needed. The other day, I was just telling Sam about this. We have our reserve truck, which looks like a bucket of rust going down the street. No fault of ours, by the way. That was a paint process problem when we got that truck. One of the guys went to open the door to the generator and the handle come off in his hand. So that's how, I mean, it's happened before too, but that's how bad that truck was getting. And it was leaking so bad that we were having to repeatedly put water in it throughout the day. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Any questions for Mike? Okay, Chief Gaines?
The guys are doing a good job. Things are heating up. We're just under 1,000 calls for service with 62 arrests for the last 2 weeks. As Kyle said, the last couple of weeks, calls have been coming in about migrants, busloads have been coming to town. We've been chasing down all of these rumors. They've all come back to be unfounded. We went so far as to go out and talk with each hotel they were supposedly going to, and it just wasn't found to be true. Reached out with some gentlemen we know with the FBI. They haven't heard of any federal funding to send migrants to municipalities like ours. Most of those are private organizations, non-for-profits doing it, and they go just outside of the bigger cities to do it. So if you hear anything like that, and you're concerned, feel free to pass it along, but just know that everything's been unfounded so far this came in. Congrats, guys, on your appointment. You're really city to work for, a great group of guys. And without Jeff being here, I just really don't feel like I can.
You don't want to beat up on Mike?
No,
Mike's getting respect.
it's not as fun. Sorry.
Try.
Okay.
Say anything about the second best department in the city right now.
Okay, anything else? Anybody have questions for Sam? Next is arts and tourism. Anything to report? Dave? Okay, community development, Alex?
Yeah, so as you all might recall, I made a New Year's resolution to go after more junk properties this year. And most people fall off by March, but I'm proud to say during my tenure here, first house I've ever been involved in getting demolished happened last Friday. So really excited to see that happen. So 4700 Carter Lane, went through the whole process and now I have a much better understanding of that. So you all expect to see a lot more of that going on this year with these junk properties now that I've gone through that process. Steve really helped me out with that. I owe him a lot of account too. Really excited to see that happening. So we have 7 more homes that are on that list now for not for repair or demolish orders, but actually title searches that have gone out. So you should see within the next probably 2 to 3 months, a lot of movement in that area. So really exciting times with code enforcement. Outside of that, our town hall housing did really well. We had an amazing turnout. Despite that crazy storm that came through here, we had over 80 people show up. A lot of great conversation, and we should have a completed analysis of everything that went on that night. The next week or two, we also have a housing study that'll be completed on April 26th from a separate organization. I'm so excited to share that soon. Community development has been getting a lot of complaints for multifamily apartments in town recently. There's been a mice issue reported at Sunrise, some flooding inside of West Park Plaza. And so really, we're starting to follow up on those, try to see if we can get invited in and just see what's going on and see how we can help out. Outside of that, year to date, we've issued 62 building permits, 7 extraterritorial permits, and 13 demolition permits. And this May, we should be switching to an entirely digital system, assuming everything goes well. Outside of that, beginning steps on having an economic development website for the city. We have all the needed materials, software, all that. It's really just me trying to find some spare time to get that going. Last thing is went to the Illinois Institute for Rural Affairs Conference and just found out that it's my professional community economic developer certification. So really exciting stuff and looking forward to the conference again this August and bringing more stuff back here to Mattoon. So that's pretty much what I got.
Congratulations on your certificate. That means a lot, I know, and
3 years.
yeah, wow, and a lot of time.
I joked around with Alex. I said, I like that. You got the house torn down and I got the thank you the next day. So from the neighbor. So
Yeah, good deal. Any questions for Alex? Okay, the next section is reports from the council. We'll start with Commissioner Clausen.
Thank you, Mayor. Congrats again, Stetson and Colton, coming into a great department. I did not realize till Mike mentioned that half the department, 3 years or less, any experience. Wow. So the only thing I got, we're getting a lot of pickleball players that are wanting to play, and we need 3 good days. Dave and I talked about this. We need 3 days. Temperature cannot be lower than 55, and then the painting and striping can be done in sets. But there's, I think once that project is done out of Peterson Park, I think you'll see a lot of players and out of towners coming here as well. So looking forward to that. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Any questions for Commissioner Clausen? Commissioner Cox?
Thank you, Mayor. Colton, Stetson, congratulations. Wish you the very best. Long, healthy, happy career here at City 19. We're glad to have you, so congratulations. Colton, you're a full-time employee, so nice birthday present. Probably in order after shaking. Wish you best of luck. Mike, thanks for being here, filling in this evening, and the 14 of the 30 employees that are 3 years or less, Chief Hilgoss and I talked a little bit about that. It's a great group of the new guys. I think they're doing a great job. All the reports I get, and Chief Hilgoss has talked about the captains have kind of taken the initiative or really going after the training portion of that, so I appreciate that. And I know Chief Hill does as well. And it's, the future looks good. And they're going to be well-trained and there's a focus on that and looking good. So with that, that's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Next, Commissioner Phipps.
Sure. Welcome Colton and Stetson. Welcome aboard. Great department. It's already been said. Alex, congrats on your certification and appreciate all the work on the list that you got to the land bank and also all the zoning work that you did. Beth and Kyle, thanks a bunch for your budget work. And other than that, that's all I have.
Any questions for Commissioner Phipps? Commissioner Graven?
Congratulations, guys. Welcome aboard. City Council employees anyway, and not to bust your bubble, Commissioner Clausen, but I predict 6-inch snow this year.
I've been talking to my wife, huh? Oh, great, great. Well, thanks,
That's it.
thanks for the optimism.
Any questions?
Commissioner Graven, much
Commissioner
appreciated.
Graven?
Well-
If anybody wants to grab a paintbrush and help Commissioner Clausen paint the stripes on the pickleball court, feel free.
Yeah, it's hard to paint from a ladder.
Yeah.
Let's see, really, a lot of things have been going well. We got a great team, commissioners, the firemen, police, public works, all the teams. A lot of things are going real well for the city of Mattoon. So I just thank them, everybody here.
Yes.
Any questions you have offhand? And the next thing we've got, we are going to go into executive session tonight. After we do that, we're not going to take any action when we get back in. I'm not sure how long we'll be in there. If the people that would stick around just a few minutes after, right before we go in, we'd like to congratulate you before you go in. But the next part, we are going to recess to closed session pursuant to the Illinois Opens Meetings Act for the purpose of discussion of the appointment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the city or legal counsel for the city under 5 ILCS 120 2C1 and collective negotiating matters between the city of Mattoon and its employees or the representatives or deliberation concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees under 5 ILCS 120 2C2. And again, we're ready to,
Need a second.
we need a second to that. Commissioner Cox, your roll call.
Huh?
Oh,
Commissioner Graven.
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
yes. Okay, we'll reconvene later, but
At this time, I'm going to pause and mute the meeting
Taking everybody out front.
until we're back from executive session. Okay, we are back. One thing that I did want to mention was, like I said, with the governor's possibility of cutting the grocery tax, the 475,000, looking at ways. I sat down with Jessica Steiner a little bit today about that GMT fire department funding where we get a little bit more from Medicare and Medicaid. And we're trying to we've only had a month and a half of new revenues, but they are showing a lot more revenues. So there is, possibility there that we may be a little low on what we predicted on the ambulance,
on the revenue side.
on the revenue side.
We've looked at that before and I didn't think that, you said a big difference. Percentage wise, what are you talking?
Well, like we bill, in instances, there's places where we bill $500 and they're paying $2,100. Billed $800, they're paying close to $3,000. Now, some of that we have to pay back to that program. I want to say 50% we have to pay back is the number that pops in my head. So, that's something we need to talk with Jeff and Jessica a little bit more on that. Again, we have $1 million in the ME fund that we were going to spend. Most of that, we've only spent $400 or $500 the last 4 or 5 years. So there's some money we could cut some things there if we needed to, trying not to, of course.
Not a one-time deal. This is what he's considering anticipating continuing.
Continuing, yeah. So again, looking at the revenues a little bit stronger and wanting to, I don't have a big increase in the sales tax. We have a 3% over what we budgeted last year, but our what we think projected that we're going to come in this year is almost only like $100,000 less than what we are budgeting for next year. So we do have some room there to be, and then plus we never spend everything what we think we're going to spend in expenses. You know, we have projects in there that you just don't get all those projects done that year. It is. It's moving it from one year to the next, but
These situations happen, we always, first thing we look at is cuts.
right.
What we can cut. Whereas obviously that's important. You know, we have to do that, but we don't really ever talk too much about how do we increase revenues.
Right. And again, you know, there's possibilities. We don't know if we'll ever get anything from cannabis or not. You know, there's other things that we're looking at. Is there other ways that we can generate money? I've asked all the department heads to look at their, you know, fees. When's the last time our fees have been increased? You know, there's some stuff there as well.
You know, the governor says he's going to give the cities the power to collect their own grocery tax, that 1%. There is another option that we talked about,
Yeah.
but he doesn't say how that works. Doesn't say when it would occur. We don't even know when the grocery tax, if it does pass, when it would actually go into place. You know?
Right.
That's non-home rule.
Yeah.
If he's pushing it, it would be at their fiscal beginning of the.
Yeah, they'll push for it for July 1.
July 1.
But no, there's been legislation before. It's like we had to go for a referendum to get that extra 0.5% tax. There has been bills in the past allowing cities just to implement that without a referendum.
Non-home rule.
Non-home rules.
That as well.
Not yet. There's been bills trying to pass that. That could be something that he's trying to do, to go ahead and let the cities do that. Now, we wouldn't be able to do the 1% because we've already got a 0.5% on. So we may, you know, if you were to pass that bill, allowing cities to do up to 1% without going to referendum, we would be able to put an extra 0.5% on.
So I assume Chapin Rose is telling you, you're not gonna be able to stop this. Is that right?
Yeah,
Rick?
that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
The Republicans are pushing for ways to try to.
Yeah, they would like to replace it with something else. You know, Chapin says that tax will go away. But the question is,
What
are they going
replace
to
it
replace it with something? And maybe it's not even a grocery tax. Maybe it's something else.
Right.
There's a lot of
That
negotiation.
will go to the state, not to the local.
Well, the grocery tax, of course, you know, the governor gave away, he didn't give away anything for the state. You know, he gave away
City money.
municipal money.
Yeah, exactly. So if they implement another tax, that's gonna go to Springfield. That's not gonna come to the,
Well, no, they're talking about
Not if it's a local.
municipalities.
Yeah.
They're talking about giving some money to replace part of it at least to the municipalities. So
Yeah.
they don't know yet. There's a lot of negotiations still going on.
Right.
The
They could.
governor is not going to give up. He's already made, it's a political issue. You know, he's
Yeah,
getting
it is.
votes. And so he's already made that commitment.
It's my understanding though that the grocery tax is already not in play. It hasn't been in play for 4 years.
No, it went away.
And,
But
but the state stepped in and said, we will give the city their portion, even though we didn't collect it from the community.
Correct.
they
there was.
did
So
that.
now they're
For a while.
saying, we're just going to do away with that. Give us-
Yeah, and there's nothing coming back. That's the way he originally presented it, and he got a lot of heat from that.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of his team announced that we could just increase our taxes. We wouldn't have to be any changes. We could just implement our own grocery tax. Well, that was not right.
Yeah.
That's not possible. The law has to change.
Right.
And Peoria can.
Yeah. Home rules.
Home rule can.
what
But non-home.
did that amount to? $400,000?
475,000.
75.
Yeah.
Call fire.
Mhm.
You mentioned canvas.
Where do I sign on this one, Susie?
There's been talk, but we don't know. You know, there's been talk. There is a license in play out there, so
Through June.
through June. Yeah. And then, you know, there should be another round of licenses coming out soon. So usually June or July, there's another round of licenses that come out. Like I said, there's other things we'll be looking at too. And again, you know, if they were to allow cities to do something more, you know, there's a small chance that the LGDF funds get raised. You know, I think it's 6.18 or something like that, 6.16. You know, they could raise it 6.18 or, you know, 6.2. And it's still nowhere near the 10% that it originally was. Yeah. But, so there's all kinds of things that we just won't know until the legislators, but be vocal. We'll be vocal with the legislators and use every chance to get at it, you know.
I mean, IML is working really, really hard on this issue.
Something similar last,
They didn't.
4 years ago, they were going to give up freeze property tax. Another thing that had no effect on the state budget, but it did on local, you know, communities. And it never happened. So you don't know for sure what will happen, but we don't need to just sit here and be quiet. We need to, you know, speak out. That's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Good. Commissioner Clausen, anybody like to second it? Standing?
Nope.
You can second it. You can second it. No.
I'll second.
I will. Okay.
You're all even.
All right. Commissioner Cox, second it.
Thanks, Dan.
Let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven,
No.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
They want
For adjourned. Thank you.